Thank you so much for coming back and tuning in. You're watching Vegucation with Leah and Britt. This episode, we have been talking about hormone health. We talked a little bit about hormones earlier in the episode, and then we went into birth control. And one of the things I wanted to ask you, Leah, because when we talked about it, we mentioned the reasons that women will go on to birth control. And you know what? We could spend a whole other episode talking about male birth control and why the onus is on the woman, but I will get down off of my soapbox. And instead, I will just ask you this. If the intent for the woman when she goes on birth control is pregnancy prevention, and maybe she determines that, hormonally birth control is not for her, what are some alternatives for pregnancy prevention? Because we definitely don't want to promote everybody in mass getting off of birth control and then having babies that they're not prepared for, right?
For sure. And I think that you hit the first one right on the head at the beginning of this by saying vasectomies are reversible and it's of no health risk to them or very little health risk to them.
Can you say that one more time? Gentlemen,
yes.
Pipe up, listen.
Yes. Vasectomies are reversible. And so I would much rather have men out there getting vasectomies and then having them reversed when they're ready to have kids than women taking a pill that could potentially have life-altering effects on them for the rest of their life.
Now, I like that as a decision for maybe an older, established couple that's just not ready to start a family. But what about for a younger couple?
That's totally fine for a younger couple. I actually just have a younger couple that is now pregnant with their first baby. He had had kids before her and had a vasectomy done and then had the reversal. And they're now having their third baby. So it is completely okay. Although, again, that's not the norm, right? The norm is for us to be on a pill that could potentially cause life.
And that's a stupid norm. I think the men need to step up.
But as far as,
responsibility.
What my husband and I do, besides the throw you off method.
He just hurls her to the other side of the room, and that's when they know they're done, folks.
Right. No domestic violence is happening in the Rushla
She
household.
loves it.
Yes, I welcome the violence. But, another thing is really charting temperature, right? So our temperature is going to change right at peak ovulation. It's going to move from like 97 to 98.5, and just say these numbers are estimations.
Okay.
So if you are taking your temperature, you're going to see that rise, and then you're going to go, nope, we're not doing that today.
Interesting.
And then you can refrain from sex that day. Having a baby is actually much harder than it seems. We've just overcomplicated it. Yes.
Some people can definitely relate to that. But the charting temperatures, I've never heard about doing that. So it kind of makes me want to take my temperature daily to just kind of see, what my average is. Because I only know when I go to the doctor and they take my temperature. So I know I tend to be lower. My normal body temperature is way under 98.6. It's like 97. Sometimes it's 96 and I'm like, am I alive? But apparently I am.
You are. And again, it's just, people have done family planning methods like this for years.
Yeah, before birth control even.
Correct.
existed.
So this has been, my husband and I have been practicing it for before we were husband and wife. So probably 6 or 7 years at this point.
Yeah.
So it is a method that works if you work for it and you pay attention, which I always do. So, yeah.
And if all else fails,
Condoms.
Tell your man to get a vasectomy, and when he's ready, he can get a vasectomy.
And condoms. Condoms work too, although he won't like them and you probably won't like them either. It's not my favorite form of birth control.
No.
No.
They don't feel great.
And they have diaphragms. Not many use those either.
I feel like they stopped making diaphragms
Nope.
in 1953.
They definitely still make them. Although, again, I don't use them, never have, doesn't sound comfortable, but that's always an alternative that you have too.
So, okay, so we're talking about pregnancy prevention. Let's move on to when you are ready, you want to get pregnant, you're ready to have a baby, and then boom, you're pregnant.
Bam!
Then you come to Coach Leah.
Yes.
Who is rolling out her new pregnancy can I say the name, or do you want to say the name?
You can say the name. No, I'm happy for you too.
So the pregnancy program is called 9 Months and Counting. Woo. I love the name. I did not come up with it.
But
my name was a close second.
It was. Her name is still in my program. And our other bestie, Kenosha, came up with the name for my amazing program.
Yes.
And, we've really talked about for women who just don't know where to start. I was thinking about what were some of the questions you had when you were newly pregnant?
Oh, I had all the questions. I remember when my oldest son was born in the hospital, my milk hadn't dropped yet, or the colostrum, the first version of the milk that comes out, like it hadn't dropped yet. And he was induced at 37 weeks. And so they broke my water, and, you know, they basically.
And you were young.
And I was young. They ended up giving him formula in the hospital because I wasn't producing milk. But no one told me that, like, I could say, no, don't give him formula. He needs to keep nursing to pull them. Like, nobody told me that. So I ended up supplementing him immediately, and I didn't ever produce enough to sustain him. So my second child, I learned, like, first of all, no, we're not doing that in the hospital. He's going to nurse, and he's going to nurse until my milk comes. And Logan was induced just like my oldest was induced, but the milk came because I knew more the second time around than I did the first time around.
Yeah, and again, there's just so many questions for new moms. Even if you're a mom who's had a baby before, you still are going to have questions. And I just wanted one place that you could go and get a lot of answers. And then, of course, if they want to, they can book a consult with me after the program if they have more in-depth questions, or just if they want someone to talk to for support that's not their mom, that's not their aunt, that isn't going to be like, you're doing everything wrong. Because at the end of the day, mother's intuition is the best.
Yes.
And you always do what's right for your baby and your family.
Absolutely. So you're going to have some cool, like, plant-based elements to your pregnancy program too?
Definitely, of course, with me being plant-based, there's going to be plant-based elements, but I want it to be inclusive for every mama. You know, if you choose to consume meat and animal products, I'm here to support you too, because again, I want you to have the healthiest pregnancy that you can while including a wide variety of different foods.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm very
so
excited.
I'm so excited to just create an amazing community of so many mamas. And, you know, I made the program very affordable because I want everyone to be able to have access to it, and then be able to reach out for support.
You know, I was like this close to being like, I'm going to have another baby so I can get in this program.
Can you please?
I think you should get pregnant and then do the program and then be amongst the community within the community.
Yeah, everybody likes to open my womb.
Go in the comments and let her know to get in her womb, please.
We'll be right back in a second with more of education.